All right. Welcome back to the Deal Desk. We got an important show for you today. Before we dive in, I got to apologize though. We missed Friday due to some stuff in my life. We were traveling and getting some things done. Yesterday, however, I was just head down buried in studying. We'll get to that here in just a second though. So we are back today with the show. And by the way, we have moved the times, as you can see, to much earlier in the day. We'll get to all that in a second. But today, we have an important show. And we have a new studio set up. All right? We got, it's pretty sick, not going to lie. It's going to be fun. We've got some new art in the background. We've got a Cybertruck. We got new colors. It's a fun time. Now, today's episode is not going to make any sense. And it's not going to make any sense unless I give you some context on it. Because today, I'm going to go, and we're going to rewind for a second. And I want to take you through the last 3 weeks and kind of break down and I don't know if admit is the right word, but at least share with you all of the mistakes that we've made or I've made over the last 3 weeks. No, not entirely true. But I'm going to share with you something that seems counterintuitive or backwards about the show and kind of talk about the intersection of three primary things. Because up until this point, one of the things that I have realized is that perhaps we took the wrong approach. No, maybe not the wrong approach. Perhaps the way that I have showed up on the show is backwards. And what I'd like to do is talk about the three intersections that we are experiencing today as a society. Now this is important because right now, I believe we are at a crossroads of sorts. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that there is this intersection of old world and new world happening, all right? So this old world and the new world are colliding in more ways than one. And that's what makes today so fascinating, today's modern time so fascinating. Okay, all throughout history, you have old and new worlds colliding, right? That's what happens when time moves forward, whatever time is. That, by the way, time is such a weird thing. Like the clocks on the wall, they measure nothing. It's like, oh, tick a second. Well, like what the frick's a second? All right, a second? How long is a second? Well, it's 1 second. Well, no kidding, okay? Different show. We'll come back to that. Anyway, as time moves forward, you have throughout history intersections of old world and new world. However, right now in history, right now in time, we have the intersection of not just one old world and new world, but multiple old worlds and new worlds. Ray Dalio talks about this in his book, The Changing World Order, and how the makeup of society and the power structures that be are shifting on pretty much every level, macro, from a macro level all the way down to a micro level, all throughout different categories. And I believe that there are three primary areas that we as deal makers and decision makers, as entrepreneurs, as free thinkers, as people that take radical responsibility for our life or in business, there's three primary areas where these are going to affect us. And up until this point on the show, we've been figuring out, all right, I'm not going to lie to you. The goal of this show was, well, hold on. Let me tell you what these three collision points are, and then I'm going to back up story time, okay? There's three primary collision points, okay? Three primary collision points that we are going to feel. These are not random. These are not made up. These are not my opinion, although I guess it kind of is my opinion, but it's based in facts. And these three things will affect your life whether you like it or not, okay? Because the world that we have been living in up until this point and the world that it now exists, they have collided. There is this collision, if you will, and the ramifications of this and the effects of this are going to be felt throughout the world. What are those three things? Well, number one, I'm going to start at the highest level. I guess technically it would be the lowest impact, like the most like mainstream relevant level, not principle-based level, okay? And we'll go down deeper of like more foundational as we go. The first one is the intersection of AI with reality. AI with reality, okay? Why? Oh, Josh, AI is a bubble. AI is no. Listen. Okay. AI is here to stay. Now listen, there's a guy I follow on X. Shout out to him. His name's Nick. And like he likes to make fun of AI a little bit, rightfully so, right? And basically he's had some success in business and had success in multiple businesses, and shout out to him. But he kind of like downplays AI a little bit. And I'm like, look. Up until this point, AI's been kind of hype, right? You had ChatGPT come out, and that was like take over the world craze, and then it was like 2 years of just nothing but hype. And then you had Claude Cowork come out, which I think was probably the next revolutionary shift. I mean, like real, true, like, whoa, there's massive change here. And then I think there's one more potentially with voice that's come out recently. That's a monumental shift. But basically, up until this point, it's been kind of hype. But that's changed now. We are at the point where over the next 18 months, the reality of the power and the tsunami of AI is going to meet the reality of the real world. And these two things are going to blend. Okay, so that's the first highest level order. The second highest, or the second collision, intersection of two things, is money/finance and old world institution, old world money, meeting new world money, new world Web3, decentralization, instant digital money. Now, I think it goes even a level further than that. I think it goes from fiat to back to hard money. I think you go from infinite to truly scarce for the first time ever. But this intersection is a level deeper, okay? And this matters. I would argue that AI is the most relevant when it comes to like what people are going to see in the news narrative. You my goodness gracious, you open X and it's like the frick. My whole feed is just nonstop. AI this, AI this, AI this. By the way, I got a new phone case. It looks really weird with the orange, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, that's what people are going to see. But I think what's going to affect people's lives even more significantly than AI, which is a big claim, by the way. It's a big claim, okay? Not like this is like a Trump level, huge claim, okay? Big claim. I think what's going to be more significant than AI and going to affect people's lives more significantly at a larger mass scale level is the intersection of old money versus new money and the collision of those two things. From centralized power to decentralization, from Web 2 to Web 3, from fiat to hard money. That intersection is like it's a foundational level shift, if you will, because it issues in a new layer of truth, which is not going to make sense for most people, but that's okay. We'll get back to it, okay? But it issues in this new layer of the way that we operate, and yeah, so that's going to be huge. It's going to be very, very significant, okay? And then the third intersection that we're living at, the third point of collision of this old world and new world, and this one's interesting, okay? It's not going to make sense at first. You're like, what are you talking about, Josh? Physics and morality. Physics and morality. Those two things seem kind of opposites of one another. Here's what I mean. All throughout history, you have the trends of the society of that time. Okay, we're trending towards this, or you're trending towards this, or this was the commonly held belief, and yada, yada, what have you. Well, right now, if you look back over the last, I don't know, several decades, certainly over the course of my lifetime, you've had this trend as a society, particularly in America, towards science. And this essentially this need, if you will, or not even this need, this belief that science can prove, we don't need God, essentially, right? Like, we just have science, and science explains everything. Now, the problem with that, and there's a big one, is that if you go and you boil everything down to simply physics, what is physics, by the way? Physics is the physical laws of the universe, okay? The laws of the physical universe, laws of the physical universe. If you boil it all down to just like, hey, here's what governs the physical universe, well, what that doesn't do is it doesn't solve for the human condition. It doesn't solve for morality. And we've seen this trend, trust the science, trust the science, trust the science. It's like, well, shut up, actually, because you're not giving us science. You're giving us a bunch of political BS. But like real science, for a second, it's like if science could explain everything, then the goal with physics was essentially, hey, remove the need for God, essentially, right? But what we've found is that we as a society, we kind of went all the way this way. And we realized that, and I think more and more people are experiencing this, is that like we need moral clarity. Like we need a way to operate. We need a way to think and approach life that allows us to live a good and fulfilling life, but also how we interact with one another, how we treat one another. And physics does not solve for or give us a practical answer for that. And so all of a sudden morality comes into play. Well, then you have morality, and the problem with morality by itself is that then you have all these people that want to play the moral high ground card, or they have really good intentions, but they don't know how to think through first and second and third and fourth order consequences. And so they want to just be charitable without solving for money. And it's like, well, money is energy. And so the physics is a really, really good, a really, really important piece of this. But they both have to coexist, okay? And so the intersection of these two worlds is the third one that I think is perhaps the most profound, but maybe felt less than by the average person. Like I believe genuinely, I genuinely believe that when you look at the intersection of physics and morality, and when you start with the moral hierarchy, meaning that God or the solution for morality, whatever the moral lawgiver is, if you start with that, essentially it disproves a lot of current modernly held beliefs around science and physics, aka the theory of relativity. Not a thing. I mean, like space-time. Really? Okay. This is not the episode, but come on. Space and time are different. They're not the same thing. Oh, but Josh, it's the best predictor of, it's crazy accurate, and it explains how all this stuff works, and like every scientist in the world basically believes it. Well, yeah, you know what? And every scientist in the world thought this Earth was the center of the universe at one point, all right? And they thought the Earth was flat at one point, okay? No. Space and time are different. They have to be different, because if not, you can't solve for, like Jesus dying on the cross would then have to be retroactively applied. It doesn't work, okay? But I digress. My point is that this, when you approach it from this lens and you study this intersection, and then you study the intersection of money, old money, new money, old real, institutional to fast, decentralized, no centralized power money, and then AI and the power of, I want to say technology that self-improves, that's AI, versus technology that doesn't self-improve, or the world that we live in. These three things essentially go and create the intersection of old and new world that is relevant to our lives and our businesses on a daily basis. Now, why am I saying all this? Like, why does this matter to you? Like, why should you care? Well, here's the deal. Let's rewind 3 weeks ago, because I made a mistake on the deal desk. And this mistake that I made was one that, in hindsight, should have been obvious, but also, you live, you learn. And so if you rewind 3 weeks ago, or 3.5 weeks ago now when we launched, the deal desk was originally called the content desk. Now, little history lesson here, okay? Because as much as I hated history in school, history is important. Well, history lesson. The original purpose of this show, or the concept, what led me to launching this and starting this was, okay, look, the world is changing, okay? There is opportunity everywhere, but there's this whole segment of people, the deal makers, the decision makers, right, that is essentially underserved. There's this whole emerging section of the market that is essentially underserved, not reported on. And not only that, it's where do you go for relevant information? Where do you go to learn about things that are happening? So we launched the content desk because it was obvious the world was going to change. We wanted to know, where is there opportunity? Where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity? And then, because like opportunity is what we're all after. You're after opportunity. I'm after opportunity. What do I mean? Well, in business, if you want to make money, you need opportunity. In life, if you want to grow, you want opportunity, right? People came to America, right? They risked their lives. They got on a ship on the Mayflower and many other ships, and they sailed across the sea, risking their lives to go to America, the land of opportunity, all right? Because where there's opportunity, there's room for growth and improvement. There's ways that we can make our lives better and advance as a society and as humans, and right, opportunity matters. And so it's like, well, okay, in business, in the world that is rapidly changing around us, opportunity is massively shifting, majorly shifting. The old world is ceasing to exist as we know it. And so the premise was, okay, why don't we create a show that reports on and basically researches where is said opportunity for us deal makers, for us decision makers, for us entrepreneurs. Now, I'll say this. If you ever want to learn more about something than you ever have in your life in a very short period of time, you should launch a show, a daily show, a live daily show where you have to go live every day, and you going live and having a good show is dependent upon the research that you do. So you end up having to do 3 to 4 hours of research every day. Mind-blowing what you can learn in a very short period of time, okay? And essentially, after a week of studying, it was like, okay, well, really what we're looking at here is if there's opportunity anywhere, this is where deals happen. Okay, well, why deals? What do I mean by it? Well, deals are what move your life forward. Deals are how you move your life forward, how you advance in life. You do deals with yourself. You do deals with people in business. You do deals with your personal trainer. You do deals with God. You do deals with your spouse. Everything in life is a deal, an agreement. Hey, I'm going to do this. You're going to do this. Here's the agreement. Let's do a deal. And this show essentially exists to prove that the future of the world is not random. It's not. In fact, it's so not random that it's actually quite predictable if you had all the information, because the future isn't random, it's negotiated. It's negotiated in deals. It's negotiated in mergers. It's negotiated in lawsuits. It's negotiated in how the deals that people make with one another. It's negotiated in sometimes with war. It's negotiated with technology, right? That is how society advances. That's how we as humans advance. And so after about a week of studying and learning about data, by the way, did you guys know that you could like research data and look at data and it would tell you stuff? Like, I'd always heard that. Oh, the data says. I had no idea what that meant. And then I went and studied it and I'm like, holy crap, data, like you can learn so much. Anyway, so you go study data and it's like, well, it's pretty obvious that the future is going in one direction, and that the way that the future is shaped is through deals, all right? Through negotiations. So we changed the name of the show to The Deal Desk. And over the course of the past 2 weeks, the premise of The Deal Desk was, okay, this is going to be the place where opportunity happens, where deals go down, and we want to create this show, this platform, where we got user feedback or listener feedback, where we find the opportunity, where we can break down the structure of opportunity, where we can look at the key players, we can look at the deals, and the tagline that we came up with essentially was, hey, here's what's happening, what deals are happening, what's falling apart, what deals structure is falling apart, decaying in society. So what's happening, new world, what's falling apart, old world, and then what's in it for you, essentially, and who the power players are, like who's involved, and then what's in it for you. So who are the players, and then how does it affect your life? And that was good. It was. But the problem that I ran into was that, and this is the big, like this is the mistake that I made. This is the counterintuitive, if you will, is that I was coming at this from the lens of, if I've got a show, I've got to be the expert. I've got to know what I'm talking about. I have to have some level of authority in order for you to listen to me. And I've got to, which is so stupid, by the way, because like I hate people that sit on their moral high horse or like, I'm smarter than you. It's like, no, you're not. Shut up, okay? I was saying that to myself as I was listening to the episodes. And so it's like, wait a second, hold on. Well, why was that happening? Well, if you rewind to the last show I had, you may or may not know this. If, you know, this is the first time you're ever hearing of me, it's probably most people. I'm not that big of a deal. But I had a show called Think Different Theory. And the premise of that show was to ask life's biggest questions. And I started it because I was a nobody. I had no success. I hadn't made money yet. I hadn't had success in business yet. I wanted to get around successful people. I wanted to understand what people that were winning in life and in business knew that I didn't know. And so the whole angle, the whole focus of said show was I was coming from a place of curiosity rather than from a place of authority. Now, when you come at something from a place of curiosity, here's what happens. You ask better questions. You seek more and you search more. You explore more. You are open-minded more. You're here to learn. People want to go on that journey with you. Your life improves better because you don't have to act like you have the answers. You're seeking and searching just like everybody else. And so that show grew very quickly. In fact, we got to about 1.5 million downloads, all organically in a relatively short period of time before we ended up having a legal issue with Apple over trademark infringement and all that, but I digress. So with that, grew really quickly. Well then, Josh, dumb sometimes. Like sometimes I just look at myself and I'm like, why is it, Josh, that you seek to make life so hard for yourself? You ever feel that way? It's like, Josh has a successful business at this time. We do consulting. We help people that sell services and stuff online. And all of a sudden, I start to play this expert role, if you will. People start paying me for my advice. And not a little bit of money, a lot of money. Like $10,000 for a day of consulting. That's insane. I made $24,000 a year at my last job. You make $24,000 a year, and then all of a sudden someone writes you a $10,000 check for a day, or $30,000 to come and to learn from you, or our clients now pay $60,000 a year. Okay, all of a sudden you're like, wow, maybe I know something, maybe I'm smart. I simply was good at a skill set, but the problem is that I shifted from this learning lens, this curiosity lens, let me figure this out. Let me ask really good questions, right? Let me understand perspective into this lens of more of like, I have the answer. Now, when it comes to selling your advice, that can be a very helpful frame, very helpful way to approach it. Can be. However, it can also be very dangerous because then you start to drink your own Kool-Aid and you go, I'm so great. Also, you kind of get an ego. But I think the most damning thing about it, and it is damning, like it is so damning that it could destroy your life if you are not careful, is that you stop asking questions. You stop exploring. You stop coming out of a place of things like, okay, help me understand. Let me broaden my own knowledge because I don't have the answer. I don't need to have the answer. I'm here to learn and grow. You stop taking that lens on and you start looking at things through the lens of, at least I did, of, will people pay me for my advice, therefore I must have the answer. Therefore I'm smart. Therefore what I say is awesome. That's a very dangerous spot to be in. And so when we launched the show, what I wanted was to have a show that had the feeling and the buy-in and the value and the journey, the story, the feel of the original podcast, like Think Different Theory. Now, a very different narrative, a very different approach, but that the way that I showed up was from a place of curiosity. Christ would call it, from a Bible, if you look at it from the lens of the Bible, a servant perspective. How can I serve, right? How can I learn? How can I grow? How can I help others? Not from an arrogance perspective, okay? Not from how can I give you my advice? How can I tell you what to do? And so when we started the show, though, started as content desk and then a deal desk, there was this pressure, if you will. And it's weird because it's like not even, we were just starting out. It's not that big of a deal. But there was this pressure of like, okay, I've got to say everything right, or I've got to have the perfect content. You've felt it. If you've ever created content before, you don't want it to suck. And you're like, oh, if I say something wrong, then people are going to, But it came from this place of, like I had to have the answers. Newsflash, there's only one person on earth. He's not even on earth right now. He was, and he will come back, that has all the answers, okay? Who is the smartest? No, we're all dumb. We don't have all the answers. Even the smartest people in the world don't have all the answers. The only person that has all the answers is Jesus, okay? But outside of Jesus, Ray Dalio doesn't have all the answers. Warren Buffett doesn't have all the answers. Elon Musk doesn't have all the answers. So why on earth would I have the audacity and arrogance to think that I would need to? Okay, so as we were going through and creating the deal desk and really trying to figure out positioning and figure out where this really fit in, because we have big vision. Braden, who is on for some of the earlier episodes of the show, he's still very much involved. He's just behind the scenes more now. Braden has vision and architecture of structure with how we're going to disrupt. He wants to disrupt the whole industry. In 12 to let's say 18 to 24 months, we want to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, most relevant show in our space. We got big vision, big goals. We want to create opportunity for you, opportunity for our listener base, for our sponsors, for our clients, like never before. We want to serve you, to create solutions that will fundamentally change your life and the opportunities that you have access to. Because I didn't have a ton of opportunities growing up. Right? I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere. I had 7 brothers and sisters. Okay, it was homeschooled, great life, but like I didn't have a billionaire Rolodex. I didn't have access to the knowledge that I have now. And it's like, how do we build a network? How do we build a show, a platform where we find opportunity, where we create opportunity, where we bring this opportunity together, where deals come across our desk, where we can connect people and really set ourselves up for success, put ourselves in the best position to win in this ever-changing world. And this recurring theme that just keeps coming up over the past several weeks as we've been doing the show is the intersection of two worlds. Now, I don't need to tell you this because you're smart and you know, but I'm going to say it anyway. The intersection of AI and reality, craziness, chaos. No one has all the answers. No one really knows what's coming. So overwhelming, impossible to know. The intersection of money, old money, new money, fiat versus hard money, centralization versus decentralization, that, like, oh my gosh, impossible to have all of the answers. And then the intersection of physics and morality, LOL, okay? The answer is Jesus, I'll just say that, but he's the only one that has the answers, is impossible to know. So showing up with this lens or this identity, this narrative of trying to have all the answers is extremely unhelpful. It's not even unhelpful, it's just ineffective and doesn't work because who am I to think I have all the answers? Who are any of us to think we have all the answers? And so the shift that we're making and the way that we want to make this relevant to you and moving forward to create a platform, a place where there's mass opportunity is by going, wait, hold on. No. How, instead of I have all of the answers, instead of like, here's factual truth of what's happening, instead of ego, let's show up with humility and a servant attitude. How do we serve? Hey, here's what we've found. Hey, here's the research that we've done. Hey, how can we make your life better? Hey, what questions do you have so that we can go and do the answers and do the research for you? Come back with what we find, right? What tools do you want to know about? What platform? What opportunity? What collisions of two worlds? How do we best set up for success and really almost crowdsource, if you will, this information and create something that is truly special and unique for all of us? And then this is not going to be an easy task to do, but I will tell you this. It is not possible to do it from a place of arrogance and from a place of, I have to have all the answers in order for the show to be great. I don't have all the answers, but I will say this. What I do have is insane persistence. What I do have is a crazy drive. What I do have is a deep curiosity and a deep desire to understand. What I do have is a gift, or my gifts that God has given me to go and interpret things, to explain things, to teach things, to research things. I have my gifts, and I can use those in such a way that would benefit all. And if we can show up with that lens, then I think that we can build a really, really great platform, a really, really great show. And eventually we're going to have, I'll tease a little bit of the vision here. I've got a second phone. This is my phone. My second phone is somewhere around here. But we're going to have call-ins where you're going to be able to call into the show, which will be super fun. And we want feedback loops. We want your guys, we want your questions. I want you to help determine the topics on things. We've got kind of some core themes and some core storylines. And as I was sitting here doing research over the weekend and trying to really figure out what comes next, where does the positioning of the show fit in? In fact, I'll read you the message I sent to my team. I think I might have done this on the last podcast a couple times ago, but I think it's relevant here again. Is that you ever gone and something made sense in your head, like you could articulate what it was that you wanted to do, but like you kind of was still trying to figure out how to go about doing that or what that looked like or felt like. It was like, yes, I see it. Well, why is it so hard? I see it. Like, I know what we're going after, but like, why does it seem like I can't get there? Or no, my efforts aren't compounding in that way. Perfect example, okay? Because for the last 2 weeks, we started the show 3 weeks ago. The last 2 weeks, I kind of knew, at least for the last week and a half or so, I knew what it was that we were trying to accomplish. It was simply the format and how we're going to go about getting there. And so I sent this message to the team. It's like, hey, we are the category of show that we're creating here, the market, if you will, is deals and deal makers shaping the new world order. Okay, there's a new world order coming in. I don't mean, although I could mean, who knows? I don't mean like, oh, you will own nothing and be happy. Newsflash, that already happened. You don't own anything. Bitcoin's the only thing you can own. It's literally the only thing. You don't own your house. You don't own your car. You don't own your ass. Oh, I own my house, Josh. No, you don't. They can take it from you whenever they want. You got property taxes. Oh, but Florida passed. If the government has to give you, if the government can determine whether or not you own something or give you, say, hey, oh, you have to pay or don't, you don't own it, okay? You haven't owned anything in a long time. None of us have, except for Bitcoin, okay? But I mean, like, the world is changing. The power structures that be are changing. The institutions are shifting, are losing power. The new world order, okay? And the ones that are determining and shaping that future are us, the deal makers, the decision makers, because the future is not random. It's not. It is negotiated. And if you can understand where the deals are happening, what's happening, how it's being negotiated, what's involved, the players involved, how you can be one of those players, then you can help shape the future of the world, okay? And this show exists to prove that point. This show exists to prove that the future isn't random. It is negotiated. And once you know what to look for and how it works, you can see the future before everyone else. And that puts you in a really good spot. Now, this is the reason that this works, or the reason I believe that there's a market for this, is you already have like so much content. You have so many different people. You got your finance bros, right? You got your crypto bros on Twitter, right? You've got YouTube conspiracy, content. Oh, like the Alex Joneses of the world, right? Oh, here's what the new world orders is. You also have the respected, the Ray Dalios of the world, right? He wrote a book, The Changing World Order. You've got finance and personal finance. You got frustration with the political system and the need for change and the finance system. You've got Web3 and decentralization. You have all of these things at play and a lot of content for all, in all these areas. But finding the through line of like, I want to talk about my life, and I want to talk about my life, not even my life. I want to talk about what I do on a daily basis and pour my life into, because I've been very blessed to have a life that is intentionally designed across the board. Where I live, how my life is structured, how I work, how I work out, my wife and I's relationship, the dynamic with my kids, where everything about, down to why I rent versus versus own, the food I eat, all of it is designed in such a way to allow me to pour my life into something. And I think that when you can use that in such a way to serve others, that it's a good thing. And so I'm like, okay, I want to talk about these things, but also I'm super deep into AI. I drive a Cybertruck. I'm obsessed with Elon and Jesus. Two different levels. Jesus is way greater, but Elon's awesome. Okay. We've got money and Bitcoin and finance, also physics and morality. So how do these things all connect? What are we doing here? Why should you care? Well, if I show up, I should say, in a way that's, I have the answers, I'm arrogant, listen to me, you shouldn't care, because why would you? Why on earth would you listen to a guy yelling into a golden microphone in front of a Cybertruck? Okay? But if I can show up in a way, and if we can approach this from a servant leadership perspective, from a research perspective, to hey, here's what we found. Dare I say, Candace Owens style research, and don't even get me started. I don't mean that, but I mean that type of like, hey, let's bring this together. Let's research these things. Then we go, well, wait a second. Maybe there is a through line here. Maybe there is a reason that AI feels like it's so relevant right now and not going away. Maybe there is a reason why, like Bitcoin and decentralization and Web3 and crypto feels so relevant and is emerging, right? Maybe there's a reason why X money has the ability to potentially disrupt the entire financial system and take over half of the global financial market. Maybe there's a reason why when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and that the whole country, arguably the world, but certainly in America, the whole country was like, whoa, left, right, whoa, wait a second. Something deeper is happening here. And you saw this massive flee back to the church and people questioning morality and right and wrong. And all of a sudden, it wasn't just about science and just about what we can observe with facts and reason, but that deeper meaning and calling. Maybe there's a reason all of those things seem to be emerging right now, and maybe there is a through line, and I believe that there is. I do, and I believe that reason is because we are sitting at an intersection of old world and new worlds colliding. And right now, actually, old worlds and new worlds colliding. And that collision, that intersection of those two worlds is perhaps the most significant, life-changing, and I'll say significant shift that has existed in our lifetime and possibly over the last 100 to 200 years. I wouldn't say ever, although maybe, who knows? Maybe it'll issue in the end times and Revelation and Christ will come back. Hallelujah, Christ come back. Okay? Maybe. But it's so significant. And those that are equipped, those that understand what's happening, those that are not even that understand it fully, but that are actively searching and seeking and trying to get ahead, will have the best chance of capitalizing on that. And that's really what the show is about. And so the Deal Desk is the intersection, sits at this intersection of where old world meets new world, primarily in three different domains, primarily. Number one, let's call it fast-changing current events, what's happening in the mainstream, the disruption that is affecting us all on a daily basis. That would be AI technology. I want to define AI because it's important. AI, artificial intelligence. Can a computer become conscious? Oh, are we creating life? Okay, newsflash. I think AI is awesome, and I think AI is terrifying, and we're definitely in the singularity, and there's a very plausible argument that AI is, we're building the Antichrist, and is going, what Revelation talks about, we're essentially building with AI. I get it. But also, Jesus is king. Human life is infinitely more important or more valuable than a computer life, and AI is not going to kill us all because Jesus said so. So that's reassuring. But we have this, like, the intersection of, so with AI, you have artificial intelligence, meaning, simply think of it like this: technology that teaches and improves upon itself and is getting faster. You have that intersection at a mass scale. That's the first column, or the first level. The second being money, the financial level of fiat versus hard money, centralized power versus decentralization, Web 2 versus Web 3, old world institutional power versus new world technology and speed. That intersection, which is massively, every single person listening to this stream right now, like, if you have an iPhone, you're affected by that one. If you have a bank account, you're affected by that one. If you don't have a bank account, you're affected by that one. If you have a job, you're affected by that one. If you don't have a job, you're affected by that one. If you're a business owner, you're affected by that one. If you're not a business owner, you're affected by that one. If you do deals, you're affected by that one, right? Everyone is affected by that intersection in a very, very real way. And then the third column being physics and morality, the intersection of what, yes, science and what we know about physics and pushing the laws and the boundaries of physics, and also the need for morality and the need for moral clarity and some form of structure that gives meaning. The intersection of those two things, how they interact, how we interpret them, those three things, and I would say that gives meaning. Like, this is our daily lives. This is what is going to affect us on a mass scale in every area of our life. And this one, I would say, it gives meaning, the principle of meaning. Those three areas are the main intersections that I think that, at least for the foreseeable future, we're going to spend a lot of time on this show, which means we can talk about Elon. Why? Because he's relevant, baby. Like, guys, just side note here. I'm just gonna, let me just rant for a second. This truck is the most insane technology that has ever existed. Quite frankly, let me ask you something. Your iPhone. There's iPhone users and there's peasants, okay? So for those of us that aren't peasants and have iPhones, is there anything in your life, any technology, anything that money could buy that you would give up or that you would give up your iPhone for in order to keep? Meaning, outside of, like, the house that you live in, there's not many things. I don't think there was a single thing that I would say I would give up my iPhone before I would give up that thing. Because, like, the iPhone is so transformational. It's so significant. Like, it's so powerful. It's integrated into every single part of my life. And nothing brings me more joy or more happiness or, more revolutionary change and power in my life than the iPhone, right? It's an incredible piece of technology. And props to Apple, for it. Okay. The Cybertruck, guys, I would give up my iPhone to keep the Cybertruck. It is so insane. I basically I text and drive all the freaking time. Like, I don't have to think about driving. It just does its thing. It drives. You can stick your feet out the window. It has steering or steer by wire. So it only goes like this far. It goes up and down. It's so awesome. Side note. That's, I had to give my side note or my rant there. Okay. We're going to talk about Elon and things that he's building, because he builds crazy technology like this. AI is in that car. The technology is in that car. The intersection of physics and morality is built into this vehicle, okay? It's the most insane technology. We're going to talk about the Sam Altman and OpenAI versus Elon lawsuit. Why? Because it's super relevant and significant to the intersection of the two worlds, old world and new world, and shaping the future, where the future is being negotiated. We're going to talk about deal structure, and we're going to talk about offers, and we're going to talk about business, and we're going to talk about the psychology of humans. Why? Because all of those things affect the future, because they involve deals and they involve negotiations, and the future isn't random. We're going to talk about the AI tools. One of the things that we're really all in on X right now, the platform X. And because we're all in on X, you kind of study trends of content, of what's working and what's not. And clearly, one thing that's working is visual style content. So sharing the screen, showing what you what you built with AI tools and visual type of stuff, clipping. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna discuss that. We're gonna have feedback. One of the things we'll do, and by the way, if you're listening right now, if you made it this far, you can be the first one. Two things. One is that I would love it to build agents or build AI solutions for you for free. Here's what I mean. We're not gonna be able to do this forever, but we're learning. Like, my team and I are so deep into business and AI and the opportunities and the technology and structure of things, and that, like, we want to be able to provide real solutions to people. And I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing right now is that the power of AI is incredible, but the usefulness of AI is very low, because most AI solutions, most people building AI are building it or using it in a way that creates hype on X, but doesn't actually solve real world problems. And so we want to really address that. That's one of the things my business is focused on. So if you're watching right now and you're like, I would love an AI tool that does this, or I'd love to see like how you'd build an agent for this thing, let me know in the comments. Shoot me a DM on X. We'll build it for you, okay, for free. I would love to know that. And yeah, so that we're gonna have phone calls and call-ins so that we can get feedback and Q&A. Really just creating a sense of community. And so we're gonna talk about all those things, and I'm very, very excited about the future of it, because I'm gonna get to know you, you're gonna get to know me, but more importantly, we're going to be able to go down this journey and this path of navigating and experiencing the collision of the old and the new world together. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's it for today. The future is very bright. It's very bright. To recap, what we did wrong up until this point on the show, or what I did wrong, was coming at it from a lens of, I must have all the answers because I need to be an expert. I have no idea. Like, I'm learning just like you. And because of that, the content that came out of it, while directionally correct, it needed some work. What we've shifted to is to say, hey, actually, instead of arrogance and an expert and knowing it all, let's shift to humility and helping others and asking questions, curiosity, and researching and really going on this journey together. What journey? What's this about? The journey of, well, the intersection of old world and new world, and how new world technology, new world, what's happening in the new world is shaping our future. And that at that intersection sits opportunity. And where there is opportunity, the way you capitalize on that opportunity is by making deals. The future isn't random because of this. Because this is how it works, the future is negotiated, because those of us that know how to do deals are the ones that are capitalizing on opportunity. And the ones that are capitalizing on opportunity are the ones that shape the future, because when you capitalize on opportunity, you cut off other opportunity and you drive it forward. And so the intersection of old world and new world creates opportunity that shapes the future of the world, that is negotiated in deals. And those of us that are deal makers and decision makers will determine that future. We will shape the future. And that's a very, very exciting thing. And the way that we're going to do that is together, by researching and understanding what deals are happening, what deals are falling apart, who the power players are, what's in it for us. And the future's bright. All right, that's all I got for today. I will see you tomorrow. Oh, one more thing. Updates on a couple of schedule changes things. So moving forward, I'm sure you've seen that now is a different time than when we normally do it. We normally do the show at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We've moved that up. We're going to start the show. We're going to try this out at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time every day, Monday through Thursday. And that will be the Deal Desk. Then on Fridays, we have our segment of the show called Bitcoin and Jesus. as of now, we are going to keep that at the same time as, or we're going to update that to the same time as the rest of the show. So it's also going to be at 11 a.m. Mountain, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. So we'll move it up by 2 hours. That may change, but the difference with that show is that's where the Bitcoin and Jesus segments are, where we're going to talk much more about that intersection of physics and morality, whereas the Monday through Thursday shows are going to be a little bit more or much more focused on the relevancy of the intersection of old world and new world when it comes to money and finance and Web 2 versus Web 3, centralization versus decentralization, that. And then also the disruption of AI meets business and meets reality. Like those topics will be more Monday through Thursday, and we'll get feedback and interaction. We'll have some interviews. We'd love any of your feedback on it. If there's people you want to see me interview or for me to have on the show, would love your feedback on that. But that's the update. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Mountain time every day. Monday through Thursday is the Deal Desk, and then Friday is the special segment of Bitcoin and Jesus moving forward on that. All right, that is all I've got for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy, man. Peace.